Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to the What a Deck profile for the pure 100% Deskbot deck, except no substitutes. We're just going to be going through, I'll show you everything that's in the deck, and then I'll talk a little bit about how it works and how everything runs together. So we're running 2 Deskbot 8, 2 Deskbot 7, and then 3 copies of 6, 3 copies of 5, 3 copies of 4, 3 copies of 3, 3 copies of 2, and only 2 copies of 1. So it's 3 copies of everything except for 7, 8, and 1. They're the slightly less useful. We're running 3 copies of Max C because it's pendulum times, pendulum zone. So people are summoning and summoning, so you want to draw. The more cards this has, the better. It's a really combo, wombo kind of deck. We're also playing 3 Swift Scarecrow, because if you have Max C, you want to make sure you can draw into something that can prevent you from being OTK'd if your opponent just makes a shit ton of things. We've got 1 Raigeki, only 1 Dark Hole, got 3 Machine Duplication, 3 Forbidden Lance, 3 Wavering Eyes, and 2 Fairy Wind. That's it for the main deck. For the extra deck, got 1 Deskbot Jet, 1 Dark Strike Fighter with the new errata, 1 Powered Insectotron, 1 Ally of Justice Cataster, 1 Great Old One Hestir, 1 Googly Eyes Drum Dragon, 1 Magical Sea Castle Aegeon, I think I'm pronouncing that right, 1 Constellar Ptolemy Mark 7, 1 Wind-Up Arsenal Zenmayo, 1 Tyrus Keeper of Genesis, 2 Gear Gigant X, 1 Wind-Up Zenmains, 1 Sky Cavalry Centaurs, and 1 Gachi Gatensu. And then the side deck I'll go into later. Most of these are other options for the deck as opposed to things you would actually side deck. The main ones that would actually be in the side deck would be Shared Ride. That if your opponent's playing something that's more like draw heavy, like spellbooks for example, you probably want to switch that out for Max C or whatchamacallit, Cleehorps. They're playing Cleehorps, so they're not special summoning, they're doing a bunch of normal summoning. You probably want to do Shared Ride instead. Likewise, My Body is a Shield and or Starlight Road. If your opponent's doing a whole bunch of destruction, these are good things because you put out a bunch of different monsters. You're going to be putting out 5 monsters pretty consistently, so you want to make sure you don't get Darkhold Raigeki because none of them have any defensive abilities whatsoever. Other than that, the rest is just like other options to think about. So the main thing with this deck does a whole lot of stuff, but your main play, the thing that makes you win, is Deskbot 3. He's your main player. Once per turn during either player's turn, you can target 1 Deskbot monster you control, and it gains 500 attack and defense for every Deskbot card you currently control. So if you've got 5 Deskbots and the two pendulums, that's 3,500 on top of whatever they already have. So that's massive amounts of damage, and that's during the damage step, during either player's turn, you can target. So it's got a lot of different utility on how you use that. And then we've got, so all the rest of these are basically just like utility that runs with this. Deskbot 8, if she's on the field, your opponent can only target her with effects. So you can put her out. She's a good defensive card if you want to keep, if they have like Blackluster Soldier, for example, and you want to save your Deskbot 3, you throw her out here, he can only banish her. Deskbot 7, they can only target him for attacks, and he does piercing damage. So if your opponent throws out something that can't be destroyed by battle, or you're playing like an Exodia deck that's going to be doing a lot of battle faders, then you could get him out, use Deskbot 3 to boost him up to a ridiculous attack, and then pierce through their low defense point monsters. Your opponent can also only attack them with attacks. So it's also pretty like a decent kind of lock to have 3 and 7 out with a bunch of other ones, because they're not going to be able to attack anyone but 7, and you can just boost 7 up immediately and not have to worry about who they're going to pick. Because you can only use 3 once per turn. So if you've got a couple different monsters, sometimes you have to choose which one you want to protect and which one you have to save. With 7, you don't have to worry about that. 6, when he's special summoned, you can change one monster's battle position. It rarely comes up. 5, when he's special summoned, you destroy 1 spell trap. Really good, especially because he's a pendulum monster. And it's not just when he's pendulum summoned, it's when he's special summoned by anything. So, like Deskbot 3 I didn't mention, but when you summon him, you can special summon one Deskbot from your deck. So if you summon out 5, you can pop a spell trap if you're worried about that. If you've already got them, like I said, with the pendulum scales, you've got 5 level 1s, or sorry, scale 1s. Your 6 and your 8 are both scale 1, and your 7 and your 5 are both scale 10. So if you can get him on the field and keep destroying him, or keep using his effect and then just letting him just destroy him, then every turn you can just summon him out and keep popping cards on their field and keep sending them back. It's pretty effective against some of these current pendulum decks and really disrupt their scales and stuff like that. In addition to what I mentioned, 7 and 8 have the shared effect that they get 500 attack for every Deskbot in your graveyard, so late game these guys get really good. Likewise, 6 and 5 get 500 for every face-up card in the extra deck. Not too great, but it can give them to like 2,000 or so if you get a bunch of pendulums in your extra deck. Deskbot 4, he's your other main playmaker. 3 will let you summon anyone. Most of the time, if you want to pop a card, you get 5. If they've got a big attack point monster and you've just got 3, you don't have your pendulum scales, you want to go for 4. So 4's effect is when he attacks a monster, you get to send one Deskbot from your deck to your grave, and Deskbot 4 gains attack equal to that monster's level times 500. So with Deskbot 8, you're talking about like 4,000 attack on top of what he's already got. Your opponent takes no more battle damage for the rest of the turn, but he can get over everything. And then his additional effect is when you destroy an opponent's monster by battle, you can special summon 2 Deskbots with different levels from either your hand or your graveyard. So if they've got something with 3,500 or less, you can send Deskbot 5, and then once you destroy it, you activate the effect to special summon 5 to pop a card. And of course, if you've already got 3, that's even more for his effect. Everything just stacks. The deck's really synergistic. Everything you do adds onto it. You can of course send 8 and just get ridiculous amounts of attack to get over pretty much anything. Even if towers were still here, you can use Deskbot 4 to get over towers, because he's normal summoned, and then you just bump him up to 5,000. But towers is gone, thankfully. And of course, once you do destroy something, then you're special summoning 2 things, which is going to bump up your field even more. Deskbot 2, when he's special summoned, you get to search for a Deskbot. So often starting plays to get 3 and just search for 2, so you have another play. If you already have a 2 in your hand and you can get 4's effect off, or if you have 1 in your graveyard, then you're just searching. You can just search a whole lot with this deck. In addition, you've got your machine duplication. Get any machine with 500 or less attack, you can special summon 2 copies. Most of the time, you're going to use this on Deskbot 2. Because if you can get 1 on the field and then get the other 2, not only are you swarming the field for Deskbot 3's effect, but you just got 2 more extra summons. And then you can also Xyz summon. Oftentimes what I'll do is if I go first turn and I get, if I get 3 or 2 and then machine dupe, then you're adding a whole bunch of stuff. You can get your pendulum scales together, and then you make Gachi just to make sure they can't destroy you in 1 turn. Or at least it's a little bit more difficult, because he can't be destroyed by battle or card effects twice per turn. Or not twice per turn, up to 2 times. So it's pretty good. I already mentioned Max C, you draw a bunch. And then Deskbot 1, he gains 500 for every machine type monster you control for a maximum of 3,000. I should also, while Deskbot 2 is on the field, all your other Deskbots gain 500. Not a big boost, but it adds up. Especially if you've got Deskbot 1 and a couple of these, you can get up pretty high. He's also a tuner, and he's the only one who's a tuner. So if you want to go for any of your synchros, you need Deskbot 1. Of course, you usually don't want to send him with Deskbot 4, and you can't pendulum summon him. Although he does have this neat effect, if you summon 2 Deskbots at the same time, you can summon him from the graveyard. So if you're penduluming, you can pendulum 2 monsters, then get him back. Or you can machine dupe and then get him back. And then go for some of your bigger plays. Swift Scarecrows, just to stop us from being OTK'd. Raigeki and Dark Hole is 2 OTK, or to get rid of problem stuff. Because this deck can OTK with Deskbot 3, it can do massive amounts of damage. Forbidden Lance is to make sure you really need his effect to go off, and you really need his effect to go off. Otherwise, you're ramming into really powerful monsters. So this is just a really good way to, like, if they Mirror Force, or they Deprison, or they, whatchamacallit, Breakthrough Skill, Fiendish Chain. This gets around all those things. Because we're playing Pendulums, we're playing Wavering Eyes, because it's a great anti-pendulum card, lets you search. I also didn't mention earlier, but Deskbot 5 and 6. Another reason we play 3 of those and only 2 of these guys. If 6 is destroyed while he's in your Pendulum Zone, you can add another Deskbot from your graveyard to your hand. If 5 is destroyed in your Pendulum Zone, you can special summon a Deskbot from your graveyard. So Wavering Eyes plus either of these, like later in the game, is actually good on their own. Even if you can't search, even if it's just the 1. If you can special summon out a 2 or a 3, and either search or just being able to bump stuff up, maybe special summon a 4. There's a lot of different options, adding stuff to your hand. It's good to be able to have this and not have to have 2 Pendulum Scales. And if your opponent does have Pendulum Scales, then all the better. And then we're just playing 2 Fairy Wind, just because destroys face up. It's more anti-pendulum stuff. Of course, it can proc their effects, like I said. And this is also, I was having a little problem with Psy-Frames, as you do. So this gets rid of their field spell and their trap at the same time. So very good. As for the extra deck, really diverse extra deck, because all the Deskbots are different levels. If you didn't notice, 1 is level 1, 2 is 2, 3 is 3, etc. And of course, you've got the 1 tuner. And to Ixie summon, you have to have both of them out on the same time. Most of the time, if you're going to Ixie summon, it'll be rank 2 or rank 5. Because rank 2's, he's what you're going to machine dupe. And like I said, Gachi Gachi, or sometimes Sky Cavalry for certain monsters like Beals and stuff like that. Sky Cavalry is really good. Otherwise, 5, just because I often search out 5 and try to get him on the field, again, so I can just pop as many back row cards as possible. And sometimes they clog up, your opponent won't destroy them because they realize you're going to special summon them back. So you use him to make Zen Mayo, and then you can get 2 of their set cards anyway. Pretty good. Or if they don't have as many set cards, Tyrus is pretty good. You could probably throw in Volcasaurus, would be another really good one that I kind of wish I had. Otherwise, we play 2 3s just in case we get 2 3s out. And we need defense, and we know we're not going to be able to survive with just the 2000 attack. We play 2 Gear Gigant, because again, Deskbot 4, because his effect has to summon 2 monsters, if you've already got a field full of Deskbots and you want to clear room for maybe a 3, or to get another search, then you can overlay your Deskbot 4s and make Gear Gigant X, and then search out something else. Pretty good. This guy I've made once or twice. You could really put in any level 7 would work, but again, we only play 2 7s, and we only play 2 8s, but for some reason, when I was testing, I got 2 8s more times than ever, so I have these 2, and Magical Sea Castle. This is a really good card. This is a really interesting card, especially against rank 10 trains. This is my anti-rank 10 train card. So there's that. Pendulum, again, there's so many combinations with the synchros. You can really you can make a whole synchro deck. I think I originally had Effect Veiler in here just for more synchros, because you can make every level between 3 and 9. But just because I only ran 2, we're running a pretty sparse extra deck. You run Darkstripe Fighter because he's the closest thing you get to Gaga Cowboy most of the time. Deskbot Jet is actually amazing, but it's kind of hard to pull off, because he gains 500 attack for every Deskbot card on the field. So like with Deskbot 3, you can get up to like 3,000, 4,000 attack pretty easily if you have a full field plus Pendulums. And once per turn, you can target one Deskbot you control, destroy it, and either special summon a Deskbot from your deck, or destroy another face-up card on the field. So this is really good for like recycling 5. If your opponent is all spell traps and stuff like that, then Deskbot Jet plus 5 is just amazing, because you can destroy this, destroy either another one of their cards, or special summon another one, and then just Pendulum 5 out again, and just continually Pendulum him out over and over again. Of course, if you've got like 7 or 8 and you want to boost their attack, you can send one to the graveyard, get out your 3, or search with 2. The possibilities are limitless. If it was a little bit easier to get out, Deskbot Jet Turbo might be something to look into. And then there's just the side deck. Obviously, if you're running Pendulums and you want to negate your opponent's Pendulums, Vectors, you can't go wrong. He's still rank 3. So, I mean, you can't Pendulum summon 3 or 2, but you can still get these other big guys. Same thing, Door Dragon, he's a 7. So if you didn't want to run 8, 7, and 8, and you just wanted to run like the 2 through 6, he'd be pretty good. He's also a level 4 machine, and he's got 2100 defense. So if you wanted a more like rank 4 based, or just, well, plus because he's a machine, he works with Deskbot 1 and stuff. For a while I was running Gear Spring Spirit because you could make a monster's attack 0, which is just OTK Central with Deskbot 003. But you have to run all machines if you want to do that, because if you have something other than a machine in the graveyard, it's not going to work. And I kept making Gachi. I found it worked so much better with Gachi. Plus it was difficult, nice, like, you can make more rank 8s if you have him and then Deskbot 008. There's some potential there, but it just didn't work for me. Likewise, Gigantes, I didn't want to banish a monster from my graveyard, but he's a pretty good destroy all spell traps on the field card in an era without, like, Heavy Storm, where pendulums and spells are becoming, like, key. He's a really good, like, card. Of course, if you want to go more synchro heavy, adding in some of the Karakuris, you can do the same kind of like Gear loop sort of things. If you run the Karakuri synchros along with like Watchdog and some of the other Karakuris, there's a deck there. There's a Deskbot Karakuri deck that I think would work pretty well. It's just not my style of deck. Likewise, you can always throw in, one of the big problems is being like Dark Hole Raigeki'd with this, because they have no defensive. They're a really offensive deck. So having my body as a shield, having Starlight Road is good. Mech Lord Emperor is pretty good too, because when your monsters are destroyed, you summon this out and it just has a crap ton of attack. Extra Despot, I guess, yeah, if you wanted to run more synchro. Armory Arm, again, just for an added 1000 attack, and plus it's pretty easy to make with 3 and 1, although if you have 2 3s, I don't know why this is here, get rid of that. Always run an extra Dark Hole. Iron Call, let you summon it's Monster Reborn for level 4 or lower machines, except it's destroyed during the end phase. So, not particularly good, but if you're going for like an OTK-centric deck and you just need to get out 3 now, or you just want to search like immediately, this is a pretty good card. Shared Ride, I already went through. Limiter Removal, there's no reason not to put Limiter Removal in here. The only reason it's not here is because I felt every time I make a deck that only has like 1 card of something, I always feel kind of cheap when I win because of it. Because it's like, my deck isn't centered around this. This was just pure luck that I happened to get Limiter Removal. But Limiter Removal with him is just absolutely like 10,000, 11,000 attack, ridiculous. But yeah, if you're playing the deck and you're trying to be competitive, throw Limiter Removal in here. There's no reason not to run it. And likewise, if you're going with the Gear Spring Spirit and you're doing all machines, because Swift Scarecrow's a machine too. Oh, that was the other reason I didn't run that. Max C, because I needed more draw power. Originally I had Shared Ride in there, and I was trying to go with Gear Spring Spirit and Solidarity. But you don't really need more attack. You've got plenty of attack already. But if you want to go for an OTK-centered deck, just giving them all an extra 800 is just going to make you that much more unstoppable. So, there's there's Deskbots. There's Deskbots in a nutshell. I'd say this is my Deskbot deck, but this could be any... It's just all the Deskbot cards, and a couple, like, support things, like draw power and stuff like that. But Deskbots, they pretty much run themselves. So, next week I'll be back with another profile, something not quite as interesting. Or no, it'll be more interesting, but not quite as good. So, until then, good luck, have fun.